Hey everyone, welcome to Garden Fork Radio. This is the remote edition. I'm in St. Louis with my sister. We're at her dining room table. We have two rescue dogs at our chair side here, wanting attention. And we wanted to talk about thinking about projects forever and then realizing they take about 10 minutes to do, which is what we did a lot of today.
Yeah, the gate, I just lived with the gate for a long time. In the stair rail yesterday that I thought about a long time and didn't ever really do. And I thought, well, I think I can get this down and I think I can get this paint off. And here we are. And the stair rail looks amazing. I love that kind of happenstance.
So it's like a banister with a wrought iron holder-upper things.
Balustrade.
And it came off fairly easily. Then you cleaned it up. You took off a lot of the paint. And then putting it back on was kind of daunting. And I came and I'm like, well, it wasn't quite lining up because nothing is square, you know. So we got a couple of the screws in and then we just used some physical force to shove the thing into place and then cut the other screws in. Then it works just fine now.
Yeah, save the original screws is my advice. Don't lose them. And know that fire removes paint really well.
But you do have to be, you were very careful, but you'd have to make sure that you're not working with lead paint. And you should wear a mask anyway and not, if you're using a heat gun, do not be right over the top of the object where the vaporized paint fumes are coming right up into your head. I did watch on a YouTube channel called Story from the Casina, which is like a art film. It's like a European art film. It's a DIY show masquerading as a European art film. I'll show it to you.
That's not like my house.
No.
I did the paint in the garage with the open window and the open garage door. And I have a gizmo called a jaw horse.
Yes.
So when you're alone, like a solo homeowner, you clamp this, and it's at, person height, and it's a big clamp. I'm not explaining.
Yeah, it's like a big clamp on the end of a sawhorse.
Yeah, and it has arms and legs, and you folds up into a little piece, and it is the best tool I have here. Just take it out, holds anything, you work on whatever you're working on, put it away, and you're done. It's a good tool.
Nice. The Story from the Casina people had window frames and door frames that they were finishing. They went to scrape off all the paint. And I'm sure there was lead paint on there. And they bought, it was 4 times the price of a heat gun, but it's an infrared heating device. It looks like something that you'd want to make toast out of or something. But it's on the end of a wand, a handle stick thing. And it evidently put off enough heat to melt the paint but not melt the lead. Because lead has a melting point of, let's say, 700 degrees Fahrenheit, and this thing heats up the paint to 600 Fahrenheit. So she wore a full mask anyway. Because they're they're very smart people, and besides making very good art DIY films. And I guess, because they've shown this a couple of times, and I'm like, hey, what about the lead paint? And I guess 1,000 other people commented on that. I did not. And so she finally broke through the fourth wall of the film and said, look, everybody. But yeah, so, I experienced the same thing where I think about a project and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. Like, there was a ceiling fan that wobbled if we put it on high speed. Mm-hmm. And I was positive that the electrical box I had mounted it in, I had screwed that thing into a joist. I'm like, how did that box get loose? I just assumed that the electrical box was loose up in the ceiling. And when I finally rolled up there, I crawled up on the ladder. There's a little downspout. It's called the down pipe, but from off the electrical box comes a little piece of pipe and then the ceiling fan motor, right?
Right.
Well, that pipe screws into the motor chassis. And then there are 2 set screws to lock it in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I didn't tighten the set screws. Oh. So at high speed, it would have a bit of a wobble, which with a 52-inch wide, 52-inch diameter blade thing, it goes wah-wonk, wah-wonk,
Yeah.
But again, I waited years until I was like, finally, it was when we sold the building. I was like, I better fix that before we sell the building. And it took 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. To get on your ladder and get out there and take your stair rail off your stair rail. This one was covered with gloppy off-white paint, and you couldn't see the detail. That's so amazing. So it's good to try things.
And then you painted it with a high-quality matte black paint, which is different than flat paint, by the way. Matte, to me, has a certain fuzziness to it, if that's a word for paint. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like it has a depth. That's a big word for me.
That is a big word, especially this time of day. Yeah, and the handrail is satin, but the metal is matte. So, because it's just amazing what whoever made this and put this house together just has some great features. So I was so excited. That was a big project for the year, and painting the inside of the house, a big project for the year. So I'm ready for another project.
So it should be noted, we're in the suburbs of St. Louis, the older suburbs, and this is a neighborhood of mid-century. Are they called nuclear houses? What are they called?
Oh, I don't. The row over there has got some special name to them, but I don't know. I just have a lot of stairs.
There's a magazine out about split level 50s.
Oh, Atomic Living.
Atomic Living, yes. So Atomic Living. So Atomic style. In other words, the 50s was like, post World War II, all these new things are coming out.
Rockets. A lot of rocket design.
And like the kitchen cabinets were metal, but they were like baked on enamel metal.
Oh, yeah.
It was very cool. So there's some, this house was built later than that, but some of them look like they're like pure atomic age houses. And I'm wondering if the insides are intact or not.
They are.
But I don't know if that magazine is, maybe they've migrated to a website now. But there's a big thing in the Midwest and also on the West Coast about the mid-century split levels.
Yeah. They have a house tour here, and St. Louis has a mid-century modern society or architectural society that hosted a great house tour. So I got to see them all and how they're decorated in that time period completely.
That's great. Oh, we're still recording. That's good.
You know what else I know about mid-century architecture, though? Next to Miami, Tulsa, Oklahoma is the second city with the most mid-century modern architecture in the downtown area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They have a building that's built to mimic the Empire State Building right downtown in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And amazing churches. It's a good town to go and look around. I happen to like door frames and lintels and...
Thank you for sharing that.
Doorknobs. And how the ornamentation, architectural ornamentation. Okay, how's that?
Yeah.
Door frames. So, yeah, go to Tulsa and check things out. But suburbs of St. Louis have a lot of homes that are mid-century. With the angles and the big fireplaces. And yeah, it's great.
Some of the houses here still have the original carports.
Yes, a lot of them.
And the columns don't go straight up and down. The columns are at angles.
Like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tulsa is one of those towns that is starting to go big because people realize that they can make a living and they don't have to be in a huge metropolitan center.
Right, and you can get their airport is super nice, and you can get direct flights to a lot of other of the major Midwest hubs, and then boom, you can go anywhere from there. Yeah, it's nicely done, and it's only 6 hours down Highway 44 if you're a Midwesterner.
Which is nothing for a Midwesterner.
Right, well, yeah. And they have toll roads in Oklahoma, so they're in really good shape.
So we did fix one of the door or gates to the wooden fence that separates your front yard from your back because your dogs are in the fenced-in area in the back. And that wasn't a really simple fix. I thought it was going to be very simple, and we made a video about it, which I will post soon. But we ended up having to reset one of the hinges with new lag bolts. We had to straighten the gate door itself because it was not square anymore. Because the person that assembled it used nails rather than screws. And I don't know what they're called, but little triangle pieces in the corners.
Yeah, like braces.
Of the frame of the door to keep it square. And then we actually had to reset the strike. It's called the striker or strike plate.
Strike plate, yeah, that's the word
big
for
word.
it.
And that took longer than we thought, but it was just, we used to use basic tools for it. I mean, we used a cordless drill and some lag bolts and some drill bits. And
we scabbed in some wood so you can put the lag bolt into wood. You can't go into just a piece of fencing.
Right. So a big part of the problem was one of the top hinge, there were two bolts missing because, you have a 4x4 post to support the hinge, and then the hinge it needs to be wider, and those two bolt holes were piercing a very thin just piece of the wood fence. Mm-hmm. And so we put in a 2x4 behind there, and we drilled it into the cross beam of the fence with another 2x4. There's a picture of that in the video, but that took longer, but it was kind of satisfying to do.
Yeah, because that gate sagging gates is a problem in most of my houses, so that is good to know that we did that. Why is it called a lag bolt?
Oh, I don't know. That's a deep question.
Oh, okay.
Nicole probably knows the answer to that.
Well, you know that the paint was matte, but you don't know. Lag bolt. I mean, there's got to be some kind of a something there. And
if
then
only I had a
bolt.
Supercomputer on my wrist here.
Or a librarian nearby.
Why is a lag bolt called a lag bolt?
Oh, my God.
Oh, it says something about the St. Louis Library. Oh, because you said library while I pressed it. Hold on. Why do they call a lag bolt a lag bolt? It's looking.
The word lag in lag bolts actually comes from its history. Originally, lag screws were made to secure barrel staves, which are also called lags. As lag bolts became more popular for other types of projects, the name stuck. This answer is from oldwestern.com.
Wow.
So the barrel staves are called lags. So there's a barrel factory down Highway 44 on your way to Tulsa. It's they make barrels used for pickles and for a whiskey, bourbon, one of those two. Or maybe both, I don't know. Yeah, it's the barrel factory.
Isn't there a particular kind of oak tree that grows in Missouri? Because that might be why the barrel company is here. Because oak barrels are a big thing in the brewing, wine and spirits world.
Right, because they give it a different flavor then.
Right, because you can have a fresh oak barrel, or they will take the barrel and char the inside, and that gives it a flavor.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And isn't Chardonnay supposed to be oaky?
Yes. My friend that makes his own wine, he uses Chardonnay grapes, and then he brews in plastic containers, basically, very large plastic containers. But to give it that oakiness, he buys oak. It's in little cubes, like cubes of sugar. And he puts them in the wort. That's a beer word. While it's fermenting, he throws the cubes of cut up oak wood.
Oak wood.
Into his Chardonnay.
Yeah. We have some special oaks here. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but...
I seem to remember that from my short time here.
Well, we're losing a lot of oaks because of the gall wasps came through about 6 years ago. And we're still having a hard time. Most houses that were built in this area had 2 oak trees planted in the front. And,
yes.
I mean, they were a certain type of oak, so we're about the 50, 60, 70-year mark, and a lot of those oaks, trees are not perpetual. I mean, some are, but not these oaks. These are 50 to 60-year oaks, so we're hitting the gall wasp and the age of the oak, and it's changing the nature of the neighborhood, but still a beautiful place to live and work on projects.
And there's a Home Depot right down the road.
Right.
And a Waffle House.
And a dog park.
So we went, as soon as I landed, as is a tradition for Tracy and I get in the car. We do not, we have a speed version of getting in the car. Tracy doesn't even stop the car. I just jump in. And then we go, it's not literally at the end of the runway, but if you drew a line from the end of the runway to the Waffle House, it's pretty much a straight line. Is it in Bridgeport?
It's Bridgeton.
Bridgeton. So you got to drive a little bit down the road. And the people there are so nice.
Yeah, it's right in front of that funky hotel, that old place. But
Yeah, well,
it's a really good Waffle House, you know. I mean, there are different grades of Waffle Houses, and that one is way up there.
the people there are always like energy hello, and there were two cooks. I think they were both women doing the grill.
Yeah.
And one of them had the $1 million shirt on.
Yeah, the $1 Million Club at Waffle House.
Yeah.
Which we think means you've cooked $1 million worth of food. And they're good.
Sorry,
they know what they're doing.
The thing is dinging.
Oh, your supercomputer. So, all right. That looks good.
I have to answer this. It's kind of very funny, but it's not kind of a thing that the camera operator would prefer me to say out loud. We could talk about that sometime.
Yeah. Well, our favorite things at Waffle House are the cheese eggs and the pecan waffle, which comes stamped with the word Waffle House in the middle of the waffle.
Yeah.
A personal favorite of mine. You can get a dark waffle or a light waffle. You know, there's variety. There's a lot of opportunity. And they still call out orders at Waffle House. So drop 2 hash, grill them, smothered, covered, drop some sausage. Not literally.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to go there. And they mark the plates.
Yeah, different little things. They use a pat of butter to mean one thing, and
A pickle.
A pickle that means one thing, and
A package of mayonnaise.
yeah, packet of mayonnaise, and also how it's oriented on the plate, because they put the plate there and then they put the little items, and so the line cooks know how to prep the plate, how to plate the plate.
Yeah. And you never wait long because they're just cranking through. They know what they're doing. It's a beautiful machine, and we saw them training someone new. And it's great the first time they have to call out an order, but they're all really supportive of each other, and
Yeah.
they make it work. They make it work. And I know Waffle House gives out scholarships and is supportive of staff. Well, I have heard they are supportive of staff.
I don't think they'd be as friendly as they are if they weren't happy.
Right.
It's kind of like Southwest Airlines. I think they're the happiest people in the airline industry.
Oh, yeah, and I talked to some pilots last week. So they were in the hotel shuttle. The crew from the plane was with me from the plane, and we went to the hotel, and I had to get in the way back, and that's where all the pilots were, so I was eavesdropping. And then I just had to ask them, a few things about what is it really like. And he said, well, I wouldn't have flown to Southwest for 50 years if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow.
Well, they have their choice of airline. I mean, commercial airline pilots are always in short supply.
Yes, they are. They are, even though Frontier downgraded some of their pilots to co-pilots. But yeah, it's an interesting world to work in the land of airlines, I think. But these people were really positive and obviously ready to go rest. But I saw them leave the next morning back on the shuttle. They got their more than 12 hours of rest, so they were ready.
Yeah, and I don't know if it still happens with Southwest. I think they've gone to like a set of uniforms, but it used to be like some of the guys, the flight crew would wear, or the gate agents wear like Bermuda shorts and Hawaiian shirts and things, and
they decorate.
Yeah,
they decorate the gate check-in or the desk where you. Well, if we have problems, you got to go talk to the people at the desk. In St. Louis, they decorate the desk. So the latest themes were, I think. Well, I'm dating, not July 4th, but Labor Day is coming up, so they'll have something for that.
I'm trying to mute my Apple Watch, and I don't know how to do that, so I'm sorry it's dinging.
Somebody's going to send you a message soon. There's theater mode, I've heard. It doesn't even light up then.
Oh.
Because you can distract the actors if you
Right.
put on theater mode, if a light flashes in the audience.
Turn on theater mode.
Sorry, I can't help you with that.
Why can't you help me with that? Oh, it didn't say anything. Southwest Airlines is moving to a regular queuing system to get on the plane. It's going to be assigned seats.
Yes. Yeah. So I asked the pilot. I couldn't help it. And he said, well, the number one complaint that we get from people is that it doesn't have assigned seats. And their boarding is sometimes, it takes a while to board because people don't get it. And they all are looking for the perfect seat. And the perfect seat doesn't exist. By certain points, it's like grab the first seat you see people and sit down. So if you're supposed to be in 33B, it's easier for humans to get into 33B.
Yeah, I like the queuing system, but in the summer, I can tell there are people that don't get it because they're summer travelers and they're just looking for an inexpensive ticket.
Yes. Yeah.
But part of it is economic because it was in the New York Times, and they basically said that they can charge more they're going to have some rows that have more legroom, so you can upgrade from a standard seat to, I guess they're going to call them all, consider everything economy, and economy plus is going to be a more legroom seat, and you'll pay more money for that, and it is a source of income for the airline.
And you'll probably get to board earlier, so you can get guaranteed luggage space.
Oh, good point.
So they were talking about how the A-list value has been degraded because of, I don't know, there's so many different people and terms and ways of boarding. So it's other airlines, I won't name them, but you have to go through 5, 6, 7 clicks to get a ticket. On Southwest, I'm like, boom, 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 get it right away. But so now you have to pick your seat, and sometimes you pay extra for premium seats.
Yep.
Like aisles or exit row. And here we come. They do have to make a living, so.
And they have really nice planes.
Yeah, the new ones, yeah.
Well, they know I'm flying, so they always give me a nice plane.
Oh, you get the new something Max or something?
757 Max, I think it is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm being sniffed.
Yeah. All right, well, we just wanted to touch base here, and I will be getting on an airplane actually tomorrow and going back to New York City. Still getting settled in the apartment. We'll talk a little bit of that in the after show. If you're interested in becoming a patron of the show, one of the pluses is the after show and also photos and videos. I was in Grand Central twice recently, and I did a video of Grand Central at 6 a.m. And then I did a video of Grand Central, me walking through it at 5:30 p.m. And it is very different because I think it's, how many hundreds of thousands of people go through that thing in a day?
750,000 according to the video we watched.
We watched this video about it. It's like, so yeah, it was just a little thing. I was like, I don't really like Facebook, Instagram. Is like, I just don't like putting my stuff out there where someone can appropriate it or use it in the wrong way or use it against me. If I ever said, nowadays you could cut up some of what someone says and make them sound like a very unkind person when that's not what they said at all. Mm-hmm. We're seeing that in the politics now. But anyway, it's I asked for a cup of coffee a month, and there's information below. It's at Patreon as well. So Tracy's going to stick around for the after show. We could talk about some deep secret you know about me, and then I'll edit it out.
Okay, I'm ready. I've got it here.
See ya. Garden Fork Radio is produced by Garden Fork Media, LLC in Brooklyn, New York. Our executive producer is Jimmy Goose. For more information on Jimmy and the custom hollow books he makes, visit hollowbooks.com. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.